kitchen. So many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.
Hello and welcome to the October show of So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. My name is Dilla Barman. I'm in North Carolina. Welcome. If you've been watching us for a while, we've been doing this more than 5 years. Every month we have a show, and all of us are Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine Food for Life instructors. We're trained to share evidence-based information about how through wonderful, healthy, whole foods, plant-based eating, we can steel ourselves for good health. And we have classes to maintain good health. We also have classes for high-performance athletes to eat this way and share the benefits of eating this way to promote your athleticism. We have a class on diabetes if you want to eat, to try to use food to avoid having diabetes, and if you do have diabetes, managing it. We have a class. I just taught one a few weeks ago on cancer. The right foods, good foods to eat to protect us against cancer, or if we do have cancer, to help with management of cancer. We have classes on high blood pressure. We have classes for children, many other classes. So welcome. If you've been watching us for a while, welcome back. And if you're new, we're so glad you found us. This is actually our last live show of the year. This is October, and starting 2 or 3 years ago, we realized we had such a canon, such a large number of recipes. We're busy, you're busy. So what we do in November and December is we not really take a break. We will have shows, actually 3 shows, not 2 shows. And we show recordings of some of our favorite holiday dishes. So we're having, I have to look at my notes in a second, I think 2 in November and 1 in December. And we'll be behind the scenes answering questions, but that will all be shows that we've recorded in the past. So this is our October show. November and December will be recordings, and then we'll be back with live shows in January. So at least in the Northern Hemisphere, with the weather starting to get a little cooler, casseroles are a great idea. And you can work wonders with a casserole dish, just an oven-proof container. Typically it's glass, or Pyrex is one brand, or it could be ceramic. And then a cover, and then a sauce of some sort, a variety of wonderful ingredients in a sauce, and baking it. It just, everything gets melded well together, the sauce brings everything together, and then once you're done with your prep work, the oven does the work, and you can prepare for dinner, get the place settings going, make your salads, your side dishes, and then when the half hour, 40 minutes, depending on the casserole, is done, then dinner is ready. Now in this case, I can't keep you for half an hour or more, so I actually made this casserole just a few days ago, and I will open it up at the end, but this is the casserole. It's not hot, because I made this a few days ago. I'm not going to heat it, and I'm going to show you that the casseroles can be really good even cool. Okay? So I've already made this, and we'll actually try this. But I'm going to make a new batch, and I'm going to cook it. The casserole I'm demonstrating is a potato carrot casserole, and it's one of my favorites from my mom. My mom used to make this fairly frequently. She wasn't a vegan, and way back then I wasn't a vegan. So she was a lifelong vegetarian, and so she, I don't know if she invented this, but I have fond memories of my mom's potato carrot casserole with non-vegan cheese. She used to use cheddar. So you may remember I think it was in January, we did a show on obviously vegan cheese, and so I made this sauce, and I'm going to demonstrate that. I made it just like we did in January. And I made it, there's a couple modifications. All the recipes are available. So you'll see we used the same recipe, couple changes. We made it a little bit more liquidy because it's going to flow in the casserole. So I've made that. And before showtime, my daughter tried it and she loved it. And so did I. This is a great cheese sauce. My wife tried it. She really liked it as well. Optionally, you can add some greens and some beans. So I will use today, in that dish I didn't, but I am going to use some cannellini beans, some white beans, and this is the raw beans. And it's easy to make the cooked beans. You want to soak the beans overnight if you have a pressure cooker, whether you have a pressure cooker or not, and then drain it and then cook it with just enough water to cover the beans for 9 minutes under pressure. If you want to cook your beans on a slow cooker, you can do that as well. It's still good to soak them overnight and then cook them, slow cook them for 6 to 8 hours, and they should be done. And you'll see these are the exact same beans and how different they are. I'm also going to be using some breadcrumbs. There's a lot of ingredients in the cheese sauce. We've done cheese sauces before. It has cashews and it has garlic. It has nutritional yeast and it has a little bit of lemon juice. It has a little bit of salt, some black pepper. So it has a variety of ingredients, and I blended this. Okay? So you'll see the recipe describes how I made this, but here goes. I've made the filling, and I was waiting to add the beans. The beans are optional. Okay? I've already added the spinach, so here go the beans. Okay? And what I did is, you'll see the timings and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just going to mix the beans in. So I added a modest amount of beans. You can jazz it up. Honestly, we like this without beans. I add beans just to make it more nutritious, but another way to serve, and this is what we did a couple days ago when I made the casserole, is I served the casserole without beans, and then we had the white beans on the side. We added some herbs and seasoning. So beans on the side with the casserole and then a salad would make a really nice dinner. But I'm adding a little bit of beans in. My mom never did this, and it slightly changes the nature of the dish. I like white beans because they don't have much flavor, and they're pretty soft. So I'm just adding a modest amount. And then what I do is I'm going to add half of it to my casserole dish. I don't have to grease the casserole dish or anything. It's not such a high heat, and it's not that it's going to cook for so long. So I'm going to put half of the filling. And by the way, this is a 2-quart dish. What I made a few days ago is 1.5. And if you follow my recipe and you use a 1.5 quart casserole dish, your ingredients will be a little bit too much. And you can see, I'm doing a little bit of a reveal now, that I kind of had to push down, and then the extra you can put in a bowl and have a small side serving. Okay? But really you want to not fill it right to the top, like I did. You want to leave about a 1/4 inch. Okay? But this still came out great. So I'm going to put half of it here. Okay? I'm going to put half of my filling here. And then I have breadcrumbs. I have breadcrumbs divided into 2 quarters. In this case, I put all half here. So I'm going to put roughly half of this. I'm going to sprinkle it on top. You can add more if you'd like. Breadcrumbs are easy to find in the grocery store. I have the container here someplace, but you can make your own breadcrumbs with crusty bread if you want. So half the breadcrumbs go here. Okay. Okay. And you can do this 2 different ways. I just want to check the way I documented to show you. We put half the breadcrumbs. If you want, you can put a little bit of the cheese sauce, but I actually just add the cheese sauce on top. But you can add a little bit if you want. But all I'm going to add is the breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to add the rest of the filling. Okay. Now, in getting ready for the show, time got away from me, and these potatoes are a little bit more cooked than I'd like them to be, but that's okay. When I made this a few days ago, they were cooked a little less than I'd like them to be, and they were a little bit firm. For casseroles, because don't forget, this is still going to cook. So if the potatoes are already soft, you've overcooked it a bit, it's really not a problem. It'll still be very nutritious. It'll just have a slightly different texture. I like, when I cut through my casserole, I like to have a little bit of pushback, a little bit of firmness. And because I cooked this maybe 2-3 minutes longer than I should have, I won't have that firmness. I'm really happy with how this is filling my casserole dish. It's leaving a little gap on top. And here goes. The nice thing about this is you can make this in advance, put it in the refrigerator, and cook it later on. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of my breadcrumbs. Let me get the spoon to make sure it's reasonably uniform. The breadcrumbs add a really nice mouthfeel, and they taste good as well. You can get seasoned breadcrumbs, Italian breadcrumbs, panko breadcrumbs. So it doesn't matter, whatever suits you. Okay, so there's the breadcrumbs. And now I get to add the cheese sauce. So here's that luscious cheese sauce. Okay. And again, it's just like the cheese sauce we described in January, just a little bit more liquidy. And this is going to, as it cooks, go down into the ingredients a bit. Okay. You can err on the side of adding even more water. The recipe I've shared here asks for half a cup of water, but you can add maybe 3/4 or just in between if you want. And if you don't get all the cheese sauce off, this is really tasty. You can use this as a dip. I might ask my daughter if she wants to lick it. But there's the cheese sauce. You can even at this point, let me go ahead and add just a little bit of water to get more of the cheese sauce and add it to the casserole. So just a little bit of water. Okay. And what I'll do is let's get a smaller spoon. And I'm going to mix this. You want your oven to be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's get all the cheese sauce, or as much as we can easily get off. Just put it in. Okay. Okay, voila, we're done. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bake this. And I want to make sure I'm giving you the right instructions because I've tested this over some time. So bake it covered for 20 minutes. So I do have a cover here, right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the oven, wait till the oven is preheated, and cover it. And that's nice. The cheese sauce just misses, although it does hit in a few places. You want to cook it for 20 minutes covered. The cheese sauce should at this point be slightly bubbly, and you should see it's turned color just a little bit. And then you want to add the rest of the breadcrumbs. I goofed. The breadcrumbs are supposed to go after the cheese sauce, and I was supposed to add them at the end. Okay? You'll see the recipe here. I've made some changes from the published recipe, so you can see there's a lot of flexibility for this recipe. But at this point, I would add, that's why I look at my notes, I would add the remaining breadcrumbs and bake it for 5 more minutes, uncovered. And you want to make sure the breadcrumbs don't burn. They should turn a little bit brown, and you're done. Okay, so this is it. It's nice and warm, and it's ready to go in the oven. Let me show you what it is finished, and it's not the complete casserole because we ate half of it. So here it is. Excuse the cover. Let me turn it so you can see the cross section. I'll actually serve a little bit. What I would do is I would put this in the oven so it's nice and bubbly hot again. Just reheat it. I didn't do that because I wanted to hold the casserole dish. But I'm going to go ahead and serve myself just a little bit, and we'll try it. Okay. So I'll just use a spoon. I'll use this spoon. So I'm going to serve just a little bit, and it's going to be really good cold. So here goes. So there's the casserole. I'm not going to fill the bowl, but you can see. Okay. This batch did not have spinach or beans. Okay. And then, because I didn't have spinach, I wanted to add spinach. It tastes great cold. Very good. So casseroles are fun, versatile. I've prepared it slightly differently than I documented. Play with the breadcrumbs. You can put them in layers or not. But the important thing is when you uncover it, watch the breadcrumbs. Make sure they don't burn. So I hope that was fun. Hope you guys will try this. Let us know. I'm going to pass the baton now, I think, to Janin, and I don't remember what she's doing. I think it's Janin. Excuse me if I'm wrong. So if it's not Janin, then whoever it is will show up next, and I apologize, but I think it's Janin. And then please ask questions anytime. I'll be back at the end, and we can take questions at any time, but at the end, during the Q&A, if you ask questions, we have some giveaways. And remember, this is our last live show for 2025. It seems like the year just started, and it's already October. So we are going to have some rebroadcasts with us behind the scenes for our favorite holiday recipes, because we're busy and you're busy. And then we'll return in January. So take it away. I think Janin. Thanks for watching, and I will see you during Q&A when we're all done. Take care. See you.
Hello, and welcome to my kitchen in Abu Dhabi. Thank you, Dilip, for the nice introduction and the yummy recipe you shared. Potatoes and carrots. Sounds really good. One of these days I'll have to try that. Our theme is casseroles, and the month is October, so it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I have this cute little camel, I guess because I'm in Abu Dhabi, and last week I held a Let's Beat Breast Cancer class in Abu Dhabi for a group of amazing women, and they gave me this camel as a gift, and they put the breast cancer pink ribbon on it. So that day I shared, of course, with all these ladies the importance of lifestyle in breast cancer prevention and risk reduction, reduction in recurrence, occurrence, and death, as Dr. Christy Funk puts it. And I realized that the recipe I chose really fits in with Dr. Funk's recommended ingredients that to have in our diet all the time if we want to also be our optimal selves fighting cancer every day, every minute. She suggests to have a lot of cruciferous vegetables, whole grains, flax seeds, and turmeric and other spices and beans, of course, and soya bean. And here I have soya milk for my recipe. And I also realized that the ingredients in this recipe fits that of Dr. Foreman's G-bombs. So it's got the grain, the greens, the beans, the whole grains. Actually, he doesn't have whole grains. The spices and onions, garlic, all of those. So the prep work is always longer. So I started my recipe. The first 4 or so ingredients need to be sauteed. These are onions, garlic, mushrooms, and oregano. I didn't have oregano, so I used thyme. I always mix and match things. And just to let you know, my recipe comes from an old issue of Forks Over Knives. It's their 100 best recipes all the way back from 2021. But I hang on to it. And I've done this recipe many times for friends. It's become actually a staple for me for Thanksgiving. So it's my Thanksgiving casserole and everybody likes it. So after you saute the onions and garlic and beans, the mushrooms, you basically start mixing things together that would go into your casserole. So I have a big bowl here. I cooked my rice yesterday also to help with my workload today, plus to bring the glycemic index down. So if you cook the starches like rice and potatoes and pasta, and then chill them and then reheat them or eat them cold, the glycemic index comes down because resistant starches form in these. Of course, brown rice has already quite a lot of fiber in it, which is very good for overall gut health and gut. When the gut is happy, everybody's happy. So here we go. I mix my, of course, as always, the ingredients and the exact amounts are in the recipe booklet we have online. So I have my rice. It's nice and ready for me. I'm adding my mushrooms, and the kitchen smells so good after having sauteed the mushrooms. These are simple white button mushrooms. The mushrooms and onion and the garlic, of course, and the thyme. It's just got an amazing aroma in the kitchen. So here's my my ingredients going in slowly but surely. And then, let's see. Combine everything and then add the beans, the greens that happen to be chopped broccoli. I chopped them really nice and fine. I actually used a little bit more of the mushrooms and the broccoli than the recipe calls for. So I prefer it to be more abundant than what they suggest. And then you would make sure it's also very festive looking. So here we go. And then you add the dill. There's dill in this. You add most of it, saving some for decorations afterwards. There they go. Then the recipe calls for basically the binding sauce. It's soya milk, and then we add to it nutritional yeast for that cheesy flavor, and you mix it all. Also, there's I added vinegar. The recipe calls for vinegar or lemon juice, so I've added it a little bit a few minutes ago. It sort of helps to bring the consistency of the soy milk a little thicker. So here's that. And then I believe you add the the oat flour, and this time, for the sake of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and to listen to Dr. Funk, I made a half and half mixture of the oat flour and the ground flax seeds. So you put them together. Instead of adding it there, I added to my mix because the recipe says to put it in the milk, but I prefer adding it while dry to the mix, and then I add the liquids, which has also the and you put it all in. Now, you can at this time also add extra spices if you like, which I do, even though the recipe doesn't call for it. The recipe calls for turmeric, and yay, Dr. Funk also wants us to eat turmeric all the time. So here we've got turmeric. I'm putting some paprika because I like paprika. This is sweet paprika. You can also add spicy paprika if you want it. Now today I don't want to make it a spicy recipe. And a nice pinch of freshly ground pepper, and the pepper, remember, help make the turmeric stronger. So everything is mixed, and this is where I'm going to stop with my recipe today, because normally I would have the ready-made one, but I didn't want to have too many extras. We're only 2 people at home, so I'm going to pour it into my casserole. And once you're at this stage, if you see that the mix is too dry, you can add a little bit more soya milk to it to make it a little wetter. So I'm gonna put this here. Just looks lovely. I love how This is a 2-quart casserole dish. Dun-dun. The original recipe is for 7 cups of ingredients altogether, and you need to use a 3-quart casserole, and it's a really good size for like 7 or 8 people coming to Thanksgiving dinner or something, a celebration or not. You could have it all for yourself. So, don't leave any mushrooms behind. So here's my dish already. Everything is piling up behind me. So, this is my casserole. And then you basically, after you've chopped everything, mixed everything, you put it on in the casserole, and then you put it in your hot oven or 400-degree oven for a half hour. Everything just gets together and blends really nicely, and it's a yummy, yummy recipe. Once it's out, before serving, you sprinkle some more fresh dill onto it and make it look pretty. This is where I stop today. Here you go. I hope you can all see how beautiful it is. The aromas are amazing. And that's it. I'm gonna stick it in the oven, and then we're gonna enjoy it later. Well, I'd like to say goodbye, and from here, from Abu Dhabi, we're going all the way back to the US again to Susanna Dickman. She will be making a no casserole. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. She's a fantastic chef. And take care of your own health. Take charge of your health. Be strong, and let's beat breast cancer together. Bye, everybody. Take it away, Susanna.
Thanks, Jonan. That looks really good. I love this casserole idea. Casseroles are so much fun and so versatile. Today, I'm Carolyn Strickland, and today I'm making a pumpkin Alfredo casserole. So it's going to have canned pumpkin, which I have right here. I've already started cooking a few things because a few of these things take a few minutes. So pasta is already boiling over here, and it has to cook for several minutes. So it is already cooking. And in the last 2 minutes of cooking, I'm adding asparagus and little carrot coins to it. And then also already cooking is cauliflower, potatoes, onions, and garlic that I have going right here. And that timer means that it's time to add the asparagus and the carrots. So this was really good timing to come over to me right now. All right, so carrots are going in and asparagus going in, and we'll set another timer for 2 more minutes. Alexa, set a timer for 2 minutes.
2-minute timer started.
All right, so this is going to cook for 2 more minutes. While that's cooking, we'll get started on the rest of it. So I have a blender, and I've already, like I said, cooked the potatoes, cauliflower, onions, and garlic in this pot. And it's cooked all the way to the point that it's actually really tender. So 20 to 25 minutes, really, really tender. So you should be able to stick a fork in it. We're going to add that. Excuse me. My dog is down here making noises. All right, so we're going to add all of this to the blender. Also, and you want all the broth too. So the broth that it cooked in, that's going to put that over here on the stove. And then the beans. So I have a can of cannellini beans that I've rinsed and drained already. Those are going into the blender. A whole cup of pumpkin. That's going into the blender. Some nutritional yeast, about 2 tablespoons. This is a recipe I adapted from the Forks Over Knives website. And it didn't originally call for nutritional yeast, but I kind of think it needs it. So we're adding a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And some fresh sage, about 2 teaspoons worth. And then we have some non-dairy milk standing by, just in case it needs it, to thin it out a little bit. All right, that timer's going off right now. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and drain everything in this pan. So this was, remember, the pasta and the carrots and the asparagus. So I have a colander in the sink already. Let me go ahead and drain this. All right. Just going to put that back over here. Oh, turn the heat off and set that right back here. Let this drain for just a minute. So the kind of pasta I'm using is Reginetti. You could use any kind of pasta you want, as long as it's about 12 ounces of pasta. The original recipe called for linguine. I am using Reginetti because I just like that shape. It's like little wavy rectangles. And I really like that. All right, so let's make this sauce. So you want to go ahead and take, or at least vent the lid on the top, because I poured really hot liquid down in here. So we want to vent that just a little bit so it doesn't build up too much steam on the inside. I think I'll add a little bit of that milk. Any non-dairy milk you like, so soy, almond, cashew. Add a little bit of that. And then some fresh cracked pepper. And maybe just a pinch of salt. Just a little bit. Okay. So I did already cook the vegetables in broth. So we have the broth in here too. All right. And then keeping it vented just a little bit. All right. So that looks really smooth and creamy. Smells really, really good. So I'm going to take the pasta and the carrots and asparagus and put it back in the pot. So we just have fewer things to clean up. All right. So that's all going back in the pot. If you don't like asparagus, I think you could use peas or maybe broccoli florets. That could be good too. And then I'm going to pour this whole thing of sauce over the top. There we go. I didn't end up using all the milk. That's okay. There we go. All right, so we just want to get it all coated. This is a very creamy recipe. And then get that all stirred together. All the pasta completely coated with the sauce. Let's see if I can show that in the down shot. There we go. We're getting it all coated. There we go. And I already have a pan ready. So I've lined a glass baking dish with parchment paper, so that way I don't have to use any oil. and it won't stick to the pan, which is really good. So it makes cleanup faster and easier. And then you're going to set the oven to 350 degrees and then pour all of this in. Whoa, there we go. All right, so pour that into your prepared pan, kind of spread it out a little bit. There we go. Smells really good. I think there's some really interesting things you could add to this. So remember, I've just adapted a recipe from Forks Over Knives. So I think you could add, if you want to, maybe some TVP or rehydrated chopped soy curls. That could be a really interesting addition. Or maybe if you can find a low-fat plant-based sausage, that could be a good addition to this as well. And then spread it all out nice and level. And then we do want to put aluminum foil on the top to keep it from drying out. And it's going to go in about 25 to 30 minutes until it's nice and bubbling and hot. And then while it's baking, we're going to make a topping. So kind of a Parmesan-like topping, but a super healthy one. So I have hemp seeds, this kind. I'm using hemp hearts. Hemp seeds and hemp hearts are the same thing. So hemp seeds, it's about 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds and a tablespoon of nutritional yeast and some garlic powder, about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then we'll put that on top and whirl it up. Not so that it's just completely obliterated, but you know, until it's kind of a nice chunky little powder. That's about all you need right there. And then that makes a really yummy topping to sprinkle over the top, kind of like Parmesan. But it has hemp seeds, which have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. So that adds a lot to the dish. The flavor is really good. I have one pan already made. Still a little bit hot, but I can show you. So delicious pan of baked pumpkin Alfredo casserole. And then we can sprinkle that delicious topping over the top. I already have some made. So you could sprinkle it on individual servings or just sprinkle it over the whole thing if you want to. So there we go. Yum. Delicious. All right. This is done. But I do, like I said, think there's some things you could add to it. So maybe cooked lentils, sort of like some meaty lentils. That would give it sort of a ground meat sort of texture to it. Maybe even, I know there was a whole can of beans in the sauce, but you could put some whole beans in there too as well. This is a great way to sneak in beans for people who think they don't like beans. Then you could just add them to the sauce and they don't even know they're in there. So I do hope you try this at home. There's other things I think you could add into it. Like I said, maybe peas instead of asparagus, broccoli, that kind of thing. Maybe chunks of cooked sweet potato. There's a lot of different things you could do with this. So I'd be really interested in the comments if you have any ideas of things you might add. That would be really cool. Remember to ask a question during Q&A. And I think I'm going over to Tammy now in Florida, my neighbor in the nearby state of Florida. Hi, Tammy.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to my lovely So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. My name is Tammy Robertson. I am a certified Food for Life instructor and the president and founder of Planted into Wellness. And welcome to my wonderful kitchen here. I'm so glad to have you. And Carolyn's recipe, that pumpkin Alfredo, was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try that recipe myself. But today I have for you a wonderful recipe, vegan tetrazzini. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you want to start off with your oven, preheat that to 400 degrees. And then we're going to start with our filling. So our filling is, we've got 1 package of spaghetti, cook as directed, which is actually cooking right now off camera. And then we've got some frozen organic green peas here. And our dehydrated soy curls, which are here. And this is just dehydrated soybeans. Nothing, literally only one ingredient, and they're hard. And they look like this close up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and rehydrate these. I'm just going to pour a little bit of water on here and let these sit for a few minutes from my kettle. And that's going to plump them all up. I'm just going to cover that very loosely. And then we're going to get started with our sauce. I'm just going to go check really quick on our pasta. You want to make sure it's just al dente, not overcooked, because again, this recipe is going to go into the oven, so you won't need to cook it as much. So you want to kind of cook it just what is just right. Okay, so now that's almost done there. For our sauce, we're going to put in our frozen cauliflower. So this is just organic frozen cauliflower. Just going to put in here. And then we're going to put our water. Okay. And then to that, we're going to add our better than bouillon to no chicken base. And you can also use, you can also make this very low sodium. You can eliminate this altogether if you like, or you can use the actual bouillon cubes and make sure it's just lower in sodium. Also, we're going to add our nuts. Now you can use any type of nut you like. For example, I have cashews here, so we're going to go ahead and put those in there. And then we're going to put in our seasonings: oregano, thyme, black pepper. And we're just going to stick all that in there together. And we're just going to mix this up just a little bit. And then we're going to cover this. And then we're going to bring this to a boil until that cauliflower gets nice and soft. So I'm just going to put the cover on that. And in the meantime, it's time for our next step with the sauce. So I'm just going to add these frozen green peas just a minute before our pasta is done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add those over here. Okay, and again, we're just adding that just a minute before our pasta is ready, because again, we're going to be cooking the whole casserole dish itself in the oven. So we don't need to thoroughly cook those peas, just a nice shock with that pasta, and the pasta water in there really is sufficient enough. Some questions that I always have about the recipe. First of all, you can use pasta, different types of pasta. I would recommend you could do linguine, like I have here. You can even use mafaldini, which if you're not familiar with this, or bucatini, which is like a spaghetti, but it's actually hollow. And I'll show you what the mafaldine and the bucatini look like. This here is the bucatini, and as you can see, it's got a hole in it. And the mafaldini looks like miniature lasagna. Okay. Now these are the only pastas that I would consider, straight pastas that I would consider. Angel hair is going to be a little too thin and it's going to get mucky and gummy. So speaking of pasta, I'm going to go ahead, take this off the pot. So again, this is just my pasta with my beans in it, as you can see there. I'm just going to drain this behind me. Okay, and now we're going to wait here until, yes, that's nicely boiling there, until our cauliflower is fork tender, our cauliflower mixture. And in the meantime, since we're at a pause here, I wanted to highlight one of the wonderful ingredients of our vegan tetrazzini, which is the soy curls. Again, the soy curls, you can get them online, and it's only literally one ingredient, the non-GMO dehydrated soybean, and I showed you what that looked like. And soy is a hot topic. We are in breast cancer month, and so I wanted to kind of tie this in a little bit to breast cancer. And one of the best things that you can do if you currently have breast cancer, if you are a breast cancer survivor, to prevent recurrence, or if you're just watching what's going on with your body and you want to prevent. Soy is a wonderful, wonderful food. I just keeping an eye out on here. So that, as you can see, that's pretty hot and that's boiling and that's good. That's what we want. So soy is a wonderful food. Things like tofu, soy milk, edamame, tempeh, or not tempeh, excuse me. Just those things there. And these soy curls can actually help protect against breast cancer. Studies show that women who eat more soy have a lower risk of breast cancer. And just to give you some breast cancer facts here, let me just adjust my feet down a little bit. There we go. That's cooking nicely. Now I got to put my glasses on. Research show that women who consume soy are less likely to get breast cancer. Those women who average 1 cup of soy milk or about a half a cup of tofu per day have a 30% lower risk of developing breast cancer compared to women who eat little or no soy. And this is due to the protective substances like isoflavones that are found in soy. And as far back as 2023, a meta-analysis data showed from 22 studies that Asian women who typically consume the most amount of soy, therefore the most isoflavones compared to those who had the least, again, 32% lower risk of breast cancer. The WHEEL study, Women's Healthy Eating and Living study, also showed that soy protects breast cancer survivors. Found that women who ate the most soy cut their risk of cancer coming back or death of cancer by 50%, 50%. Another study with over 5,000 women previously diagnosed for breast cancer for 4 years, when they consumed regular soy products like soy milk, tofu, or edamame, came out ahead. They were a third less likely to have their cancer come back and 30% less likely to die from cancer compared to those who ate little soy. So again, soy is our friend. Unfortunately, what happened was the reason why soy has a bad reputation is that early on during some animal studies that were used on rodents, and I believe they were rats, found that soy actually caused breast cancer, which is true if you're a rat. However, since we are not rats and we are humans, the soy has proven to be beneficial for all stages of life, whether that's from infants all the way up to senior citizens, and really super beneficial, not only for for women, but also, as a matter of fact, for men. And so it also has positive effects on other cancers like lung cancers. There was a study of 444 women diagnosed with lung cancer, and adjusting for all other factors, women who ate the most soy cut their chances of dying from lung cancer by 50%, 50. So that is really significantly, significant when it comes to data. All right, so we are going to, our mixture here for our sauce mixture is done. So as you can see here, that's just the cauliflower and all that goodness I put in there. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, and behind me, I'm going to put it in this Vitamix. And I'm going to very carefully put it in here. Make sure you don't get all that goodness out of there. All right. Just checking on our spaghetti. Okay. Now I'm going to put the top on this, and I'm going to blend this for about 30 to 60 seconds with the lid on, maybe slightly cracked a little bit because this is steaming, as you can see, until it's nice and creamy. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Perfect. Woo, and that is steaming. Okay, so I'm going to come around and show you exactly what this looks like. It's nice and creamy. Okay, now this part is important. So we're going to go ahead and leave this here for now. Our soy curls that we are rehydrating are nice and soft now. And so we're going to go ahead and drain this off. Some people use, like I said, I just use here the regular just water because it's going to pick up some flavor. But if you like to, you can always use as well. Vegetable broth. So that also works. So I'm going to transfer our pasta and our peas into this bowl. Oop. Got a little right away. All right. And now I'm going to take this with my little sieve here. I'm going to dump that. And this is going to now go into this water. It's not really useful for anything, but you could use it if you want to thin out your sauce. You could use that a little bit in there. So we're just going to save this. And now we're going to cut up our soy curls. So just depending upon how you like yours, will depend on how fine you cut up your soy curls. So I'm going to go ahead and just begin to rough chop this. You could also put this back into your a clean Vitamix and pulse them just like zing, 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 zing. That's it. That's all you need. Because again, you're not making soy curl soup. Otherwise, if you process it for too long, it is going to get soupy, and we don't want that. So for us, this is about as cut up as we like it. But again, if you prefer like larger chunks, if you prefer to look like shredded chicken, you might want to use a processor for that. But this is about how cut up we like ours. And I'll come and show you what this looks like. Okay. Now this is nice and hot. So we're going to go ahead and add this. Got to spill some on the counter. And now all we need to do at this point is to put everything together. So we're going to add our sauce to this. Now with the sauce, you can see this is a little thick, so we want the sauce to be runny. So you may want to thin this out a little bit, and I'm going to thin it out. Like I said, you could either use the water that you use to soak the soy curls in, or I'm using soy milk. And just add a little bit more because, again, the sauce is really going to thicken up when you put it in the oven, in the casserole. All right, so you want this a little bit thinner. And again, I'm just mixing it here. You don't even need to put it back. So we want it like pretty runny, as you can see here. Pretty runny. Okay. And now we're going to add it to our everything. And we're going to assemble all of this. So we're just going to oh, yes. Okay, so your oven that you started at 400 should be really down ready. And you don't need to grease your dish, But you could just put this mixture once you mix it all in there. Okay, you want to put that mixture in. And then we're going to top it with some, now you could either do some homemade breadcrumbs. I'm using some organic Italian herb breadcrumbs. And I'm just going to just sprinkle this over the top so this gets nice and brown. And of course, be sure to spill some on your countertop, because that makes it taste good. All right. So let me come and show you what this looks like right before we put it in the oven. There we go. Okay, and then once it comes out of the oven, this is what it looks like. And I'm going to plate some of this yummy goodness up for us. And I wish you could smell it. It smells amazing. Okay. And here's the final product. Yummy, delicious, vegan tetrazzini. All righty. Well, thank you very much once again for joining me in my kitchen for this lovely and delicious recipe I have for you today. And now I believe you're going to be hailed soon from lovely Omaha, Nebraska with the lovely cauliflower Cody. I think she's got some wonderful chickpea and rice casserole. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Hello, it's great to see you guys. Hi, Tammy. It's great to see you too. Thank you for your wonderful recipe. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my home in Omaha, Nebraska. I am Cody Stubbe, and today I'm going to be making a chickpea rice casserole. So this is like your take on chicken and rice casserole if you've ever had that. So this is the veganized version of that with our wonderful legume, the chickpea. So we're going to start off with some wonderful ingredients here, and I'm just going to get going here, and the recipe, we'll have that available for you as well as far as the amounts of each ingredient here. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get our liquid ingredients going. So I'm going to put in some water here, some filtered water. All right. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of some coconut milk. That's going to make it nice and creamy. I'm going to turn this on here. So we're going to boil this, and then we're going to pour it over our other ingredients. And then I have some seasonings. I have some nutritional yeast, aka Nooch. It's going to give me a little bit of a richer flavor here. A lot of great nutrients in that. We have some ground garlic powder and some ground black pepper. So I'm going to put that in here as well. And then I'm going to whisk it. Going to get a little noisy here. So when you whisk it together, it's going to look kind of nice and creamy, and it's going to have more of a yellowish color to it. It probably won't take it very long to boil on here. So while that's getting hot, I'm going to add my other ingredients to my dish. So I'm just making like a half a batch just to show you, because I have one that's also done that I'll bring out at the end here that I baked just a little bit earlier. Now throw in some rice. Now I'm using brown rice, so it might take a little bit longer to cook than if you were to use like a white rice or a jasmine rice. But we try to use rice that's brown because it has more nutrients on it. All right. Oops, I think I added just a little too much of that. Sorry. There's just one half. That's all right. It should be okay. All right. Then I'm going to add in some chopped mushrooms. I like to use white button mushrooms because those have been shown through research to help reduce your risk of breast cancer. So I love to use a lot of white button mushrooms in my cooking if I can. I got some chopped celery here. So it's like one stalk that I've cut in half and then chopped nice up fine. Then I have some yellow chopped onion. I love onion on my stuff. I love onion, and I love garlic and about everything that's savory. So, all right, this is getting hot. It's not boiling yet though. All right, we're going to add some chickpeas to this. All right. And I need to add in my Better Than Bouillon, no chicken base broth bouillon into this. So it's about a teaspoon to every 1 cup of liquid. So I'm going to put that in here. That's going to give it that nice kind of savory flavor. There is some sodium in this, so if you're watching your sodium, I think that there may be some non-sodium versions out there that you can try. All right. And then last, I'm going to chop up some fresh rosemary. I don't know if you guys have ever cooked with rosemary, but it's one of my favorite herbs. I grow it every year. And it just smells so good. I think it actually helps repel mosquitoes. So I have it on either my front porch or my back porch. But it's just such a handy herb. It doesn't take much to give a little flavor to whatever dish you're cooking. So I like to just kind of snip off a twig of it and then just kind of like pull some of these off. It's pretty hardy. So like I said, it doesn't take much. And then just gonna use a little paring knife and then just kind of cut those up a little bit. See? You could leave them whole too, but they're just a little bit easier to eat if they're cut just a little bit up. I love rosemary because, whoops, looks like it's starting to boil. Another reason that I like rosemary is because my grandmother, who passed about 9 years ago, her name was Rosemary. So when I cook with it, I always think of her. So it's just my little way of remembering her. That boiled really quickly. So you really have to watch anything on the stove top if you're trying to boil something, because it just can kind of sneak up on you. All right, I'm going to throw in some of this rosemary. Stitch. All right, and I'm going to mix this up. So normally I would do this in like a 9x13 pan. And the dish I cooked earlier today does not have the mushrooms in it. My middle daughter, Ella, she does not care for mushrooms, no matter how many times we had her try it. So I've just tried to just make something that does not have mushrooms in it as well for her. All right. So you got that mixed up very nicely. It looks beautiful. You can smell it. It smells like rosemary. It smells really good. All right. So I just kind of spread that up evenly and then get my hot pads here. I'm going to take those. And you're going to take this hot mixture very carefully and you're going to pour it over all of your ingredients in your pan. Okay, so you can see that kind of got a pretty yellow color. All right, I'm just kind of like, I'm pushing everything down into the liquid here. Looks really good. Okay, so now what I need to do is bake with this. But first, I need to add a cover over it because you don't want the moisture to escape. You want to keep it in there so it can cook that rice and all those veggies. So you can cover it with something that's not going to burn. We cover it like this, and I put it in the oven, 375 or 400 for about an hour. And then you'll take it out and let it set for about 5 minutes and check on it, and then you can open it up and serve it. So I'll show you my finished dish here. All right. And here's the finished one. And it's so good. So again, I would normally make a 9 by 13 pan, so it'd make enough for everybody. So that's what turned out. Got a little bit, little browned on the edges a little bit, but that's okay. Nothing's burnt. But it just smells so good, you guys. Oh, I love this. I gotta give it a go here. I tried it earlier. It's so good. Yep. The chickpeas also absorb some of that flavor from the nutritional yeast and the bouillon. It's great. There's just a little bit of rosemary in there to give it that extra layer of seasoning. So good. This would be a great dish to serve like for Thanksgiving, like a side dish. It'd be really good for that. And along with like your seitan loaf or whatever you have, or like your cauliflower roast, this would be a really good side dish for that, which I'll probably do because it's so good. Well, anyway, please look for the recipe. Oh, I forgot to mention, what's also cool is that you could top this with a little bit of fresh parsley. It makes it even look fresher. It's so good. So thanks for watching my cooking demo today. And we're going to have Q&A here in just a minute. We're going to get all grouped back together. We're going to pull everybody on. And we're going to answer any of your questions that you have over our casserole recipes today. So, all right. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in Q&A.
All right. That looked really good. Oops. I'm not sure why you can't see me. Uh-oh. That's strange. We've never had this issue before. I'm not sure. Let's give Cody a second to get herself collected. So get her things put away. And let's see, Carolyn's ready. So let's bring Carolyn on. And I don't know why it's not showing. Let's try this. All right, there we go. All right, looks like Cody may be ready. So let's add Cody. So great. Very nice. Thanks.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on a different computer. That's why I had to switch over to a different one than my phone.
No problem. Well, what a great show. And hats off, I think, to you, Carolyn, for suggesting casseroles. It didn't occur to me. And I love doing mine because it reminds me of my mom. My mom used to make this dish, and it was one of my favorite dinners. After I left home, when I visited, my mom would say, "What should I make when you come home?" And that would be one thing I'd ask her for. And of course, hers wasn't vegan. I wasn't vegan way back then. So, but I think I've duplicated what my mom used to do. I think mine might be better with my vegan cheese sauce. I don't know. So, yeah, thanks everybody for watching a little later today. We all had, I was at our breast cancer rally earlier, like in the morning. We had a bunch of things going on. And if anybody asks if you're interested, all of us, I think, are doing Let's Beat Breast Cancer. And we can share a little bit about that. We will share something about that because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But let's start with the show. So we had lots of good questions coming in. And those of you who are new, I think we have several new people on the show, which is awesome. So from this point on, any questions that come in, you get in a drawing for some prizes. And Cody, do you remember what our prizes are this time? Because I know you put the banners.
Veg News subscription and Forks Over Knives cookbook.
Yeah, and Karen picked out the Forks Over Knives cookbook because she said there's lots of casserole recipes in there. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do, and I'll ask Carolyn, would you be willing to write down the names of the?
Say, I can.
Oh,
I got it already.
Got a pen.
All right. Okay. I don't know if you're willing, Cody, but backstage she showed me her lime Halloween
Yeah,
costume.
I got a costume for Halloween for a party we're going to. It's a lime. It's really cute.
A lime? I have kale.
Let me
I have
show
a
you.
kale leaf.
And I'll, while we're doing show and tell, I'm going to show you something too.
Oh my. Okay. Liz
So
will
this
lift me
is-
here. Okay. Oh, that's so cute.
You just kind of wear it like a sash.
That's really nice.
Great.
And then all of us have this. This is
Let's
what.
beat breast cancer.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
was such a nice event.
I just got my box yesterday of
I
stuff.
got mine too yesterday. Yeah, big old box. Mine is. When is your event, Cody?
The 28th. So
Mine's the 25th, next Saturday.
nice.
Yep.
Good.
Big heavy
So,
box of stuff.
We'll talk a bit about that. But let's get to the show first. So casseroles is a great idea with the weather getting colder. Actually, today was really warm. It was
Here too.
70s.
Chilly here.
It's chilly there. Yeah, it's really warm here. So, but
Very-
more or less, it's. I turned the heat on for the first time a couple days ago, so it's starting to cool down here. So casseroles is a great idea, and the nice thing with casseroles is you can do a lot of the prep work in advance and throw it in the oven. And the thing that binds it together is some sort of sauce, and that leads me to one question that really came up for you, Carolyn, and that was, in your case, you had already cooked a lot of your ingredients. In my case as well, I cooked it partially, and then I baked it. And the question was, at what point do you are you heating it just for a little bit of warmth? And I want to share something, but let's see what you have to say, Carolyn, about that first.
That's a good point. I mean, I did think about that when I was making it, that, you could just stop here before putting it in the casserole pan and baking it. But I think the thing about adding it to a pan and baking it is then you can put breadcrumbs on top and get like a crispy coating and then cut it into squares. So, and there's something kind of fun about casseroles. So I suppose with mine in particular, you really could serve it as like pasta with that sauce on top. But yeah, I don't know. I like casseroles and I like adding the crispy coating on top. So, but
Cody, do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Well, mine had the raw rice in it, so it definitely needed longer to cook up. Otherwise, you'd have really crunchy rice and probably break your teeth.
that
So, yeah, it just kind of depends. I make
Really
macaroni in vegan cheese dish, and sometimes I cut up other things in there. And so the stuff I put in is already cooked, and the noodles are hot. I just cook it in there with the sprinkles on top, kind of like what Carolyn's saying, the crunchy stuff, just to kind of make it all one dish, and it's kind of nice. So that only needs like 20 minutes just to heat through, and then then it's good. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what you make and how crispy you want it. And sometimes those seasonings and those flavors kind of mix together a little bit while they're baking a little bit as well. So
True. Well, it's kind of like the idea of macaroni and cheese. Like, you could just eat it like macaroni and cheese out of the pan, or you could put it in a pan and put breadcrumbs on top and bake it. And it's, it's just a little bit different flair to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we put up chopped seitan in our mac and cheese dish, and like whatever veggies. Sometimes I do steamed cauliflower and stir it in there too. So just the kids are getting more veggies, but my mac and cheese sauce is made out of sweet potatoes. So I mean,
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Carolyn, please add Linda Jackson. She asked a great question about where to get the recipes, and we've been posting it all along. But I noticed just now, for some reason, this doesn't always work. I'm not sure why. So recipes.smck/casserole should work, but just in case it doesn't, I'll put this up here.
And then somebody could click that, you think? If they click, does it become a link?
I don't know, but I can create. So StreamYard has changed. We now have QR codes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, let's see if this works.
Cool.
Okay, so this is And I wanted to talk a little, let me just type this in, so many casseroles recipes. So let's see if I can display this.
Make a QR code and then people can use their phone and scan it.
Yeah.
Unless they're watching on their phone, and then that's a problem.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to do. Haven't quite figured out how you scan a QR code while you're using your phone.
Okay, so here's the QR code, and I'm going to try it just to make sure it works. This is a new feature. Let's see if it works.
Let me see. I'll try it too.
It looks like it's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave that up for a minute. I don't know if I can move it.
There we go. Drive.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, yep. I got the recipes. There we go.
So that's the recipes.
So many. Actually, oh yeah. At first it said so many sweet recipes. Then it said so many casseroles. So
yeah.
Okay, that was weird.
So I wanted to answer that question too. The question is, like, when I make my potato carrot casserole, if I cook the potatoes too long or the carrots too long, then it becomes kind of soggy. So there's kind of over time you get some experience. I like to cook it, and I gave hints in my recipe until the potatoes are cooked, but there's still some resistance with the fork. And that's what I like. I like serving it so there's a chunk. Now, everybody's different. Like, my daughter likes it really soft. And I apologized to her when I made it, and I said I really probably boiled the vegetables a little too long, but she preferred it that way. So all things equal, you want to cook as little as possible, because the more you cook, the nutrients leach away in the water a bit.
Right.
But we're eating so nutritiously that generally it's not a big issue. Yeah, if you and maybe Cody, you can talk about a related issue, because I know you're an expert at manicotti, and you don't boil your manicotti; you let it cook based on the steam. And I haven't had good success with that. I always boil. So maybe you want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I used to get so frustrated when I was making manicotti back in the day, when I'd boil the noodles and then you take them out and then they rip, and then it's just so frustrating. Or when you're trying to stuff them and then they slit up the side. So then I think I came across a recipe where they're like, no, you can just cook it with extra water in your pan and make sure you seal off the top good so it stays in there and it cooks your noodles. So I started doing that, and it's been a game changer for me for making manicotti, because you don't have to worry about them, getting pre-cooked and ripping on you. So
I make pretty good manicotti, but I don't think as good as you do. And you inspired me when I first became your friend, and I knew you were so good at manicotti. I made it a few times. My daughter loves it. I should make it more frequently, but I know yours is really good.
Thanks.
I don't think I've had your manicotti in live. You've made your lasagna for me, I believe.
Yeah, but I'll make my manicotti next time you come down.
Okay, that'd be great.
What do you put inside it? That sounds good.
It's just a vegan ricotta cheese. I think I got that recipe originally from Nora Cooks, and then I just kind of tweaked it to make it my own.
Okay. I've been making vegan ricotta out of just firm tofu, drained really well, whirled up with nutritional yeast and a bunch of raw, like fresh herbs and stuff. And just salt. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Bread on bread. It's delicious. So,
Carolyn, you've added Linda's name as the first questioner, right?
I had Linda Jackson.
So the second one is Shirley Ann Mooney. So welcome back, Shirley. It's good to see you. Shirley wants to know, I would like to know how to modify a no tuna recipe to a no chicken recipe. I'm not a fan of fish. So before we answer that, and I don't know much about either one of these. I want to let one of you or both of you answer this, but I did want to say I wanted to apologize about we were having internet problems with Susanna, so that's why. But we let Carolyn know, so she wasn't that surprised.
Yeah.
Looking around, wonder what's going on, but but Shannon didn't know, so we're sorry. And we also got Susanna sent her recipe a little late, so we'll add it to the document, and you'll have her recipe. And we're sorry that she wasn't able to.
I wondered why that wasn't there. Yeah, I was actually going to make a no tuna, or tuno, as I called it, tuna. And then I saw that Susanna was going to do it, and I said, well, darn, because I had worked on one and come up with like a really good white sauce. Like, how do you make white sauce without a lot of oil or butter or whatever? And I figured it out, and I was so excited. And then I saw, oh, darn, Susanna's already making it. So, but we enjoyed it.
My daughter likes no tuna stuff. Like, we get it at at a local co-op, and she often gets that.
Is it a brand? Like, is it one of those packages?
No, she buys it from, they make it fresh at the co-op.
Okay, because I've seen some that come in little like shelf-stable packages, like, you can buy cooked rice already in those packages that you open. I've seen tuna like that too. That's a no tuna thing that flakes, and it's very low in fat. And I'm not 100% sure what it's made out of, but I've seen that and wanted to try. I mean,
There is a
I don't see it
recipe.
locally,
There is a recipe I like. It's in the Food for Life curriculum, and I can't remember if it's in the cancer. Maybe I think it's in the diabetes curriculum, and it's a chickpea and walnuts. I think it's really good.
Okay.
Do either of you guys remember? It's from one of those. I think diabetes.
No.
And we should in a minute talk about what is the Food for Life program. We're wearing our
Right, exactly.
Well, briefly, the Food for Life program is the nutrition education program of the Physicians Committee. So we are all of us who present here are Food for Life instructors. And
Right.
Take a look. I've noticed our website, fflclasses.org, for some reason, sometimes it doesn't open. So if you're having problems, go to pcrm.org. And we have instructors all over the country and in a number of other countries. And some of us present online. So if you're interested, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there's some extra classes about cancer. It's amazing, but all of us have many lives. We've advocated for lots of things, right? So I was for many years a bicycle advocate for the city I live in, right? And I teach math. I'm an advocate for math. But in this space with food, it's really neat because it seems like all fingers point to plant-based eating. It's like for me, a no-brainer. The more plants so today during the rally, I was interviewed by NBC TV, the local NBC, and they were asking me about, what are some of the reasons that people, from a cancer point of view, and it just drastically reduces your risk of cancer. Not all kinds of cancer, but breast cancer. As far as I know, there's no correlation that's been found so far with lung cancer, but with some kinds of cancer, eating plant-based is a dramatic decrease in your chances of getting it. And one of the things she asked me on NBC is, she said, "What about genetics?" And I described it as being born with a gun, and the gun sets you up with the possibility. Some of us are more likely to get certain things. But then by using lifestyle, we can make it less likely that that'll be triggered. So that's one way of thinking about it.
Right.
But then to go back to this question about the no tuna, no chicken, would you guys like to talk about this? Because I don't really have much knowledge about that.
I have some ideas. Like, I think it depends on what it is that's making it taste like tuna. So for me, when I was playing with a no tuna casserole that I was going to do today until I saw Susanna's message that she was doing one. I was adding seaweed snacks to it. So making it with, chickpeas and things like that, and seaweed snacks. And so seaweed snacks give it that fishy flavor. So to convert it from that, you're just really taking out whatever it was that was going to make it taste like fish. So the is probably seaweed snacks or dulse flakes or something along those lines. You could also replace, if you don't want the chickpeas, add some soy curls, because those are really, really good.
But specifically, her question is, so she says, I've seen no tuna recipes, or I think she said, she implies that she has.
How do you convert it to a no chicken?
Right, yeah. Because the flavor of fish she doesn't like.
Right. That's why I would say take out the seaweed or the dulse flakes or anything that makes it taste like fish.
Seitan.
Right. I mean, you could add seitan, you could add soy curls, whatever, but just take out whatever the flavoring is that's making it fishy. And to me, it was using those seaweed snacks that you can buy in those little containers and eat them like chips, which are really good for you because they have a lot of iodine in them. They're actually pretty good for your thyroid. But if you don't like that flavor, definitely don't add the seaweed flakes or the dulse flakes or whatever. And that's probably the biggest thing that would be making something taste like fish would be the seaweed. So.
What's your thoughts, Cody, on that? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with Carolyn on that. Just take out whatever that fishy flavor is that you used. Right. You could, I don't know if like your sauce, if you could add a little bit of the non-chicken bouillon to it, maybe just to give it that other kind of chicken flavor to whatever sauce you're making for it. That might help a little bit as well.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I use it all the time. In fact, I rehydrate my soy curls in that boiling no chicken broth.
Yeah.
And it really infuses them with more chickeny flavor.
That works good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
While I was watching, I was thinking, I mentioned to my daughter that it's been a while since I've used soy curls. I learned about soy curls through So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. I think I might have heard about it, but it was somebody, and so Butler's soy curls. I know Cody, you were a big advocate of it. So a question came in, and I answered it, but I'd love your input too. And the question was about, are soy curls processed? And what I said is, yeah, they are, but minimally so.
Minimally.
They're still healthy.
Well, we also don't know how they do it because Butler won't release the exact. I have some guesses on, I think, how they do it.
What's your guess?
My guess is that it's cooked soybeans that are mashed into a pulp and then kneaded until they get stringy and then dehydrated. So that's my thought. But they don't tell anybody, and it's, I don't know. I know the only ingredient is soybeans, so and non-GMO soybeans. So yeah,
I think one thing I would ask people to watch out for is TVP, textured vegetable protein. So that is much more highly processed, and I know. So we're so thankful. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at our document, but look at all the things that we've contributed. But look at the appendix. Brenda Davis this is one of her best appendices yet.
Oh, really?
So appendices is when you have different appendixes in the body, but isn't more than one appendix in a document appendices? I think so.
Appendices.
Appendici.
Appendici. I think it's appendices.
I don't know.
So I don't know if the two of you have seen hers this time. I know we've been really busy, but if you get a chance, look at it. It's great. She always does. You know what Brenda does is she doesn't just write, but she also cooks. So all the things that she photographs, she cooks for our show to put in the document. She's amazing.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, such a joy to have her work with us, and we should have her on sometime, Dillip.
We have,
but we should have her soon.
And we should maybe see if she'd cook with us.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Just to actually thank her for all the hard work she's put together.
Right?
That would be nice to.
Yeah, she's awesome. She is awesome.
Yeah, the document is really excellent. We should do that. I'll talk to her about that. But her document is really great. And so she's the one who early on, I've been a vegan for a long time before I knew much about some of the health benefits. Oh, that's a good point, Shirley Ann. Segment on soy curls. We should do a show on soy foods in general. That would be a topic. But Brenda's the one who alerted me to soy curls, and Brenda also alerted me to. Brenda's excellent. She knows, just like Michael Greger, Neil Barnard, these are just giants of nutrition. And so Brenda also suggested to me that some of us enjoy, and I eat them once in a while, rice cakes. And there's something about the popping of it that she says is not very healthy. And so it's not that you can't eat rice cakes, but just don't eat a lot of them. I mean, I buy them 3 times a year, so that's really not an issue. But if you
said don't eat them, is that what you're saying?
There's something about the popping process in the grain that she says is not good.
Really?
And I should know more about what I should ask her again about that. But yeah, she's not a fan of rice cakes or corn cakes or things like that. When I buy them, I like them, but I don't buy them often. So
okay. Yeah, I'm curious about that. I'd love to know more what she means by that.
But I wanted to go back to the soy curls being processed. I wanted to point out that in a sense, when we're talking about unprocessed food, we're not talking about raw food. We're not talking about, exactly right off the plant. And in fact, there are some problems if you do that. If you eat totally unprocessed raw foods, there's certain nutrients that are difficult to get. So Brenda, again, has written, I think, the best book in this space about, what's it called? Raw?
Nourish.
Being raw.
How is it being raw?
I think it's called Being Raw, something like
really?
that.
Okay.
Or Becoming Raw, or it's raw. I don't remember.
She's got one called Nourish.
Yeah, but that's for kids. That's for raising children.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She did that. That's when we had her on the show to talk about the book.
That's right.
That's a kid's show, wasn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she suggested probably most of us do want to eat more raw than we are eating, but if you're totally raw, then you have to be careful about certain things. So we are advocates of minimally processed foods, but even say soy milk has some processing. You have to, soybeans and so forth.
Everything is processed at some extent, unless you're just going out, picking it off the tree or pulling it out of the ground and eating it. Everything goes through some processing. I mean, you buy a bag of brown rice and cook it. It's pretty much a whole food, but it's been processed to strip away the dirt, strip away the outer parts you don't eat. I mean,
So the one slight concern I had, well, don't let the good be the perfect be the enemy of the good. And so one thing is, as Carolyn said, we don't know how they make the soy curls, but I've not seen people diminish it as a whole food. So it's minimally processed.
Well, yeah.
I had an interesting thing I wanted to talk about, and that is, and thanks, Shirley Ann. That's a great idea. We should definitely do a soy food show. You know, let me remind you guys that our next 3 shows are not live. We actually, because we're really busy in the holidays, and you guys are too. So it was somebody's smart idea. It wasn't mine, but somebody said, why don't we rerun some of our shows? Because we've been doing this for more than 5 years, about 5.5 years. We have a lot of content. And so we're all going to pick one of our episodes, and it'll be shown. I'll bring it up on the screen. We're going to be showing let's see, in November. Is this the first one? No, that's not it. We're going to be rebroadcasting and putting things together. Oh, here we go. So the first one we're doing is November 8th, which is just almost a month away. And that's Saturday at 2, our normal time. And then we're doing one on November 14th at a different time, Friday at 7:30. And then we're moving to Hanukkah, Christmas kind of show in December 13th. And that's a Saturday at 2 as well. So those are coming up. And if you have any favorites, like we did some really good shows this year. We did a great show on cheese and plant-based cheeses. Then if you have any recommendations, feel free to post it on Facebook or YouTube, or to email us. But we're already starting to think about January and February, because those are our next shows. So those are the next ones we're going to create new content for. And one idea I had is maybe we could do something with well, I mean, this idea of soy foods, I think, is a great idea. So, yeah, so other ideas. So one question I had was about, this came up, Carolyn, in your cooking, when you said, oh, I'm going to turn and all of our cooking, when we turn the oven on at 350 and put the casserole in. How sensitive is it to the exact temperature? Because some of us are, in other countries where we use Fahrenheit or we use Celsius. And I wanted to share a little bit and then see if you want to share as well. To me, my casseroles aren't so specific to temperature. When I say 350, it won't be very different if it's 375 or maybe 340. It just, the slower you cook, the more time for the ingredients to really meld together. But be careful about going too high a temperature. So when generally for a casserole, when you say 350, for example, Fahrenheit, it can be 10 degrees less or maybe 20, 25 degrees more. And the key thing is to keep an eye on what you're doing and see what's going on. I gave some hints in mine, is keep an eye to see when the vegan cheese sauce is bubbling a bit, and then you're pretty much done. And also I wanted to point out that ovens differ. So when we say 350 in a convection oven, that's equivalent to 375 in a regular oven. So would either or both of you like to share a little bit about, when we talk about casseroles, baking, how much flexibility do you feel we have with the temperature?
Well, I think I mentioned this in mine. I can't remember, but like the first one I cooked at 400 for about an hour, and it came out a little bit on the crispier side, a little bit drier. It still tasted great. The second one I cooked, the one that you saw me make with the mushrooms in it, that one I did at 375 for an hour, and that one turned out like a little bit more moist, and the rice was softer, I guess. So I guess if you want something more softer, not as dry and crisp on the edges, then maybe go for the lower temperature. And then just check it, if you need to, just kind of open up the corner and just take a little bit out and see what you think. Take a look at it. If it's getting brown, you may want to pull it out, So, yeah. Like you said, ovens vary. Even elevations can affect the your oven. So when I say something in Nebraska, I mean it can be different for size, So
Colorado.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing, based on what you just said, Cody, is when you have a lower temperature, you have more time for the steaming to go on, which also makes it a little less crispy. When it's hot, then things are going so quickly, it crisps things. So oftentimes when I make casseroles, what I'll do is I'll bake it at whatever temperature, typically 350, 375. And in the last few minutes, I'll take the top off. And this way I get a little crispiness and let some of the moisture go. Carolyn, did you want to add to that?
No, I agree completely. Like, I think it's personally, I don't think it's an exact science when it comes to making a casserole. It's not like baking a cake that you probably need to be a little more careful about. You know, with a casserole, you could go anywhere like 325 to 375, even 400, and it's just heating it through basically. Because like somebody else pointed out, you know, in the comments, it's already cooked. Like the stuff in it is already cooked. So we're really just heating it and letting the flavors get to know each other a little bit. So.
Cody, in your presentation, you talked about one of my favorite herbs, and that's rosemary. I love rosemary, and I tend to be a lazy cook, so I don't put extra work into things. But when I do, I will take the time to chop the rosemary in halves or maybe thirds because it releases more of the flavor. But I find rosemary is so fragrant. Remember the first time I visited you, I actually brought some local big stalks of rosemary. When I visited both of you, I came with suitcase. Well, in your case, I drove, Carolyn, so I had like 2 grocery bags full of. That was awkward not awkward because you were getting ready for a wedding, and I showed up at your house with all these vegan croissants and all sorts of stuff.
We were mostly just focused on the wedding, so I don't even remember what you brought.
Okay. But then when I came to see you, I had a whole suitcase full of stuff for you. So we're all foodies. We love food. And so I brought you some rosemary. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about what do you do with rosemary? Do you bother to chop it, or do you feel that its flavor is strong enough that it stands on its own?
Oh, I love chopping it up and putting it in. So sometimes actually, no, I don't chop it. So I do a lot of stuff with it. I have it growing in my backyard. So I have several rosemary bushes, which they make beautiful shrubs too.
They do.
So edible shrubbery. What else could you buy for? Like edible plants around your house. So sometimes I take Brussels sprouts, cut them in half. And other, vegetables, but usually I love to throw Brussels sprouts in. And then this sounds really crazy, but this is like a thing I do around the holidays. And I can't remember if I've ever done it for so many cooks or not, but grapes, like red or purple grapes, usually red grapes, and Brussels sprouts, and then put stalks of rosemary under the grapes and Brussels sprouts, and then have some broth in it and garlic, and let it kind of infuse in the oven with that steaming of the, you put aluminum foil over it, and then it kind of steams the broth that's in the pan, and it steams it into the Brussels sprouts and grapes, and then take the lid off and let it really roast and crisp up. And then you take the rosemary out, because by then it probably burned up, but so take it out. But you get the nice roasted Brussels sprouts and grapes, which is one of my favorite things. Drizzle it with a little balsamic vinegar, maybe throw some crushed walnuts on top. It's just divine. It is divine.
I've got to get you some of these amazing grapes we get locally. I sent you pictures last week about these grapes that are muscadines, and they're really good. They're very small. They're very flavorful.
Yeah, that could be really good too. Sometimes muscadine has the thicker skin on it though, so it would be. I don't know if that would.
You haven't had these. These are called razzmatazz. They're called razzmatazz.
Well, I haven't roasted them. So usually I just roast regular, like red grapes, like red table grapes. And I try to go with seedless because it's hard to get the seeds out when you're eating it roasted like that. But just that flavor of the rosemary infused with the grapes and the Brussels sprouts. It's just divine. It's my favorite.
Cody, how about you? In your dish, did you bother to chop the rosemary, or did you feel?
I did. I don't know if you saw me do it, but I was chopping it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of like take the leaves off the stem and then put it together and chop it up in little pieces. And then I feel like it releases more of the flavor that way. You could also like save those stems, and you could like use them as like little skewers and put stuff on them. And
I've done that.
Yes, isn't that great? Little tomatoes and fun.
So here's a confession. So all our viewers probably get are better observant than I am, because I'm kind of behind the scenes running, doing things with your help, of course. And so I sometimes miss things, because when you were chopping, I was probably writing my question down for you or looking at answering some
that's
questions.
Okay. Yeah.
So I that was one thing I noticed the first time we did the show is I said, wow, I need to watch it again, because my brain was on all the technology, and I was kind of only half listening, so I'm our worst viewer because I'm not as focused as I need to be on as I'd like to be.
I won't hold it against you, Dillip.
Thank you. Yeah. One thing I sometimes do with rosemary is sometimes I will actually rub it like a rub, and I'll rub it into like tempeh. Tempeh can sometimes pick up some flavor, and rosemary has a really unique flavor. I love rosemary. The thing I like to do with rosemary that I've seen nobody else do, it's my own creation. It's not a traditional Mexican thing. Is that's my specific. That's the ingredient I like to use in my guacamole. In my guacamole.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put some rosemary needles, and there I do try to chop it in half. So I'll put my guacamole is easy. It's avocado, lime juice, usually 3 kinds of allium, garlic for sure, red onion, and maybe a leek. You know, there's this new variety that I was telling at least you, Carolyn, about, and maybe you, Cody. It's called sweet garlic. And my daughter giggles when I say that because she says, you talk about it so much. But sweet garlic is this wonderful cross between garlic and leek. And it's delicious. It's sweet and it's thinner than leek. And it's really good. And it turns out all these products, like I love Robin's koji nut squash and a number of other squash. They're all from a place called Seed 72 or something. It's these Chicago farmers who've hybridized, really nice tasting vegetables.
I have to try that. I don't think I can find that here. Probably not. But
We should do another show on squash. I'm not sure we have done a show on squash, have we?
I think we have at one point. But wait a minute. Are we talking about hard winter squash or summer squash? Okay.
Hard winter.
I think I did a butternut squash soup once. So maybe that was a soup recipe.
I know, I did too. I feel like I have done a butternut squash something or other. So I don't know why.
I think we had a show so much squash. But we've had so many shows that we can repeat some of them. Brenda recommended that, and we did it already. She said beans are so powerful. Don't just do one bean show. So do specific ones. And this year we did a so many black beans show. I'm sure next year we'll do a so many red beans, so many white beans, because from a nutrition point of view, they're all roughly the same, but their taste and how you use them is quite different, right? They're all of them are super nutritious. Right. But the way a white bean, its characteristics are totally different from what a black bean is. A black bean is chewier, harder. A white bean is creamier, and it's easier to blend into something if you just want a little bit of a creamy hint. Red beans are different from that. A zucchini bean is different still. So I think in the new year, we'll probably have some specific, at least one, if not two, specific bean shows, I think. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Chickpeas.
Yeah, chickpeas.
I love chickpeas.
I use those a lot. That'd be a fun one. I already got something in mind.
Me too.
I bet because of my
chickpeas, we're gonna do chickpeas.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe that should be the next one. I
think so.
Okay. What are you thinking of, Cody? Because maybe I'm thinking of the same thing.
I'm thinking of cookie dough bites.
That's what I was thinking too.
No.
It was. I was thinking. I bet Cody and I are thinking of the same thing. Chickpea cookie dough. You knew it. See, great minds think alike.
I know it.
I just knew it. That's why I asked you. I'm thinking cookie dough bites. She's thinking cookie dough bites. I knew it.
Well, there's a kind of chickpea that I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but it's used in Indian cooking. It's kala chana. It's black chickpeas.
I have some of those, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with them. Dillip, send me recipes.
Okay. It's very
really
similar
good.
to regular chickpeas, but you have to cook it a little bit longer, and it's denser, and it has a different. It doesn't taste so much like a chickpea. It's quite good. I can send you some recipes.
All right, dude, because I have some, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what to do. They just looked really good, and when you're vegan and you see something in the store and it says vegan, it's like, oh, I have to buy that.
I gotta give it a try.
It's vegan. I have to try it. Yeah.
we had at our Let's Beat. Let me bring up the Let's Beat Breast Cancer website. So at Let's Beat Breast Cancer, so Cody is, Carolyn is. I think many of us are doing this, and take a look at our website. You can look wherever you live to see if there's a Let's Beat Breast Cancer rally going on. So at our rally, we shared lots of literature, and then I always have food. And one of the dishes we had was a chickpea salad that everybody loved. So good. We had a chickpea salad, a black bean salad. We had a kale salad. It was quite nice. So
which chickpea salad did you do?
Well, I didn't make it. I used it from a store that was literally like 24 footsteps away. I mean, it was right there, right next to the square where we were at. Very,
Oh,
very
okay.
close.
I'm actually cooking for mine, so
Okay. I had considered that, but I had many other things going on. I didn't want to also
me
cook. So-
too. I know. But I've done it for the past several years, so I thought, well, I guess I should do it again. So we have a whole morning of events, so it's not just a rally. It's we have people doing yoga and Zumba and doing talks, like medical professionals talking about. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, it's a great event, and I'm so glad to be, to be part of it. And and I know that I've seen footage from you, Cody, and Carolyn. I don't think I've ever seen some of what you've done, but I'm sure it's spectacular as
really,
well.
okay, it's a lot of fun. We do it at the Y, and we have people coming and doing. Last year we did a pound class, which is an exercise class involving drumsticks, and you're pounding on things, and so they were, it was really fun.
Sounds awesome.
If you want to get an idea, I actually have it here. This is my event, and you can see pictures and video from last year, and soon will be this year. So,
Is that the QR code thing? Is
yeah,
that okay.
let's beat breast cancer. Also, I wanted to ask. We talked about two things: bullion and parchment paper. So I'm a big fan of parchment paper. I sometimes forget. And it also works well with casseroles if you want to have less cleanup. So you can put that. But then sometimes the only problem with parchment paper is if it's a very liquidy casserole and you cut into it, sometimes it rips and you might accidentally get a little piece of parchment paper in your food. So you have to be careful about that. But otherwise, who wants to sing the praises of parchment paper?
I love parchment paper. I use it all the time. It's like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
Because nothing sticks to it, and it's fabulous. That's like one of my very favorite things to use.
There is one thing that sticks to it, Carolyn.
What's that?
Your friendship with it.
Oh, okay. I love it. There is that. There is that.
That must have been a dad joke.
Very bad dad joke. Yes, it's a dad joke, but he is a dad, so
That's
to do
true.
that. Yeah, it's very it's so useful because things that before I might have used oil and you don't really want to always be adding all that oil all the time. There's just no nutritional reason for it, and it's a bunch of calories for no reason, and fat for no reason. So yeah, if you can use parchment paper, then I think I should probably buy stock in a parchment paper company because I use it so much. I have like industrial size rolls of it. It's just the best ever. And it keeps you from having to clean up stuff afterward, because if you just line it really well and press it down in, it's gonna leak under, then your pan is totally clean when you're done.
The only downside is once you've cooked with it, it's not really recyclable, so it becomes garbage. That's the one downside.
That is.
And if you do decide, we do cook with minimal or no oil. If you do decide that your casseroles are sticking, there's nothing wrong with taking like a paper towel, putting a little olive oil, or really canola oil would be a better choice because of the heat, and just putting a little thin coating. You can do that, and that helps with sticking, and it gives you almost no added fat. So that's an option if you prefer. But parchment paper is great, and I also love it. Cody, did you want to talk about bullion a little bit?
Oh, let's see. I think we talked about this one on a previous show, but so I use like a no chicken bouillon. It comes in like a jar. It's like a paste, and you kind of just dip out. It's like got the ratio like 1 teaspoon of that to like 1 cup of water. But there's, I think, different kinds. I like that one. I like the just the plain vegetable one too. It's really good. The vegetable one's kind of like my beef broth one, and then the no chicken, of course, goes for anything.
They make a beef one. They do make a vegan beef one. Yeah, they really do.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that in Nebraska yet.
They do. Well, you may have to order it online because it is hard to find. And I used to find it when we had a Whole Foods, and then we lost our Whole Foods, but Whole Foods had it. So
really,
yeah, I used to buy it there. So yeah, it's just hard to.
I used to. There was a bouillon cube I loved, and I used it for many years, and they stopped making it. I can't remember what it was called, but that was Rapunzel. I love the Rapunzel bouillon cube. I added it to my pasta, my quinoa, and then I don't like the flavor profile of the bouillons, that bouillon cubes or bouillon mixes that I've seen. I use sometimes either make my own or more likely buy a vegetable broth. I like the flavor, but I generally don't like flavor profiles of things that are trying to resemble chicken or beef. Thanks, Chester. It's good to see you. We all remember you from the cruise.
Yeah.
Chester, we're about to do our drawing. So Chester, turn it into a question, and you can. Oh, Linda has a question. So go ahead, Chester. If you can think of a question, like, will you keep up the good work? Then you can be in the drawing. Hope you and your wife are doing well, Chester. Linda, and then we'll do the drawing. I think we'll get.
Well, I think Linda already asked a question. So
oh, okay.
In the drawing.
Okay, so we have two people in the drawing.
Oh no, different Linda.
Different Linda. That's what I thought.
Different.
So Linda. Linda DeFee Jackson was the other one, and Linda Coulter Pittman is one of our regulars. It's good to see you, Linda.
Pittman,
do you need to keep soy curls in the freezer? No, you don't.
Fridge or freezer. I would not leave them in the cabinet, but the refrigerator is fine. If you want it longer term, put them in the freezer. But if you don't, if you're not going to use it for a while, put it in the freezer.
Right.
But I do keep it in the refrigerator. I made the mistake years ago of keeping it in the cabinet because I didn't know. And then I went to open a package and went, oh, that smells terrible. It went bad. So, yes.
So question for you, Carolyn, from Linda Coulter Pittman. I love rosemary too. I love new potatoes and rosemary. How long do you cook grapes and Brussels sprouts in your recipe?
Ooh, I'm going to have to look that up. I think it's about 20 to 25 minutes. Really, it's just cut the Brussels sprouts in half. Whole grapes, you don't cut them in half. So it's like maybe a few cups of Brussels sprouts, a few cups of grapes, vegetable broth, and then put the rosemary on the pan, parchment paper, and then rosemary, and then pour the broth over it and lay all the Brussels sprouts and grapes on top, and then cover it with aluminum foil, bake it at like 375 for probably, 20 minutes or so, and then take the aluminum foil off so you can let the rest of the broth steam out. And once it starts getting really, I guess you could probably use a little bit of olive oil in it to keep it from sticking too, if you want to. And then when the Brussels sprouts are tender and the grapes are starting to burst and turn brown and burst a little bit, then throw it in a bowl, drizzle some balsamic vinegar over the top, and maybe some chopped walnuts on top would be really good too. Or hemp seeds. You could throw on some hemp seeds instead.
How cool, a fellow teacher. So Anne, it's great to see you. I'm glad you found our show. So Anne and I teach at the Stanford Math Circles. And she's been teaching a little longer than I have. I've been teaching there for 4 years, something like that. And she's senior to me. She's been teaching longer than I. So great to have you, Anne. And I'm glad you are you have your feet wet in this space of plant-based nutrition. You must think of it kind of funny. You think of me as math, but I also teach cooking. So good to see you, Anne. So Anne's question is, have you experimented with aquafaba or cashew cream in baked dishes? It's a great idea. I haven't used aquafaba. I think both of you have. I've used other creams in baked dishes, for example, what I demonstrated today with the potato casserole, but not a cashew cream in main courses, but in desserts, I think it would probably be really nice. But let's see what Cody, you and then Carolyn say about that. And let's add Anne to our list as well.
Well, I don't think I have used either one of those specifically in a casserole dish. So
I have. I've used cashew cream sauces in casserole dishes plenty of times. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, something that might inspire Anne.
So cashew creams, they're so easy. It really does help to have a high-speed blender, just to get the graininess out of the out of the cream. But a good cashew cream sauce, sort of a basic recipe is like a cup of broth to a half a cup of cashews. Maybe boil the cashews first.
Really? I wouldn't have thought of that combination.
Yeah. So, I always boil my cashews just because that makes them soak up with liquid, get plump, and easier to blend up. So I do maybe a cup of broth, a half a cup of cashews, throw in a clove of garlic, a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and that's sort of the basic recipe, fresh cracked pepper, that kind of thing. And then whirl it all up for a while and let it blend. And then one thing I love to do to that's just sort of my basic cashew cream sauce, then add, if you want to, a whole roasted red bell pepper into it, and you'll make
color.
it like a red. Well, and then it makes it a roasted red bell pepper or cashew cream, which is really good. And then you can change the flavor profile on that if you want to. So you've got this basic red sauce that's like a creamy red sauce, just basic. But if you want to add maybe a few teaspoons of curry powder or garam masala, or add a few teaspoons of Tex-Mex seasoning and make it more of a Mexican flavor, or add some Italian herbs, a few teaspoons of Italian herbs, or fresh tablespoons of fresh, and then you'll have like an Italian sauce. So you can just do so many different things with that. But like a basic cashew cream sauce, it's great in a casserole, whether it's rice-based, pasta-based, whatever, yeah.
I want to throw out before we do the drawing is it's October. We're getting close to my big thing. I host the country's biggest vegetarian Thanksgiving. So I'll put the link up there. Before the pandemic, we 1 year hit close to 1,000. We had, including 2 pre-Thanksgivings, but we consistently would sell out at the main restaurant at about 630. And I don't know why, since the pandemic, we haven't hit those numbers. We're still the biggest in the country, but now we're talking about like 350, which to me seems small. I'm used to 600 plus.
Right.
So 350 seems small. But anyhow, I invite everybody to consider. We used to, before the pandemic, have regulars who flew in from Chicago, one family from California, one from Florida, Philadelphia. There was 2 families from Canada. So it's worth traveling for. It's a great event. And I know that 1 year Cody's going to come and 1 year Carolyn's going to come. Maybe the same year.
That'd be so fun.
It would really be fun.
We'll go together, right, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be
I'll
great.
just stop. I'll stop in Alabama and come get you, and then we'll
It's not on the way.
we'll go.
It's not on the way.
To meet in the
We'll
middle
make a
somewhere,
detour.
but yeah.
So I want to invite everybody to trianglevegsociety.org/Thanksgiving. All right, let's do the drawing then. So Carolyn or Cody, who's in the drawing?
I have 4 people: Linda Jackson, Shirley Ann Mooney, Linda Hooker Pittman, and the last one was Ann, and I didn't catch her
Ann
last
Shore,
name.
S-H-O-R.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to draw a random number, and Ann is a fellow math teacher. She'll tell you cannot really draw a random number. It's a pseudo-random number, but we won't go into that subtlety here. It's possible, but not through math. You have to
If
use
it's not
physics.
possible, then never mind. We just can't do it.
You have to use physics. You have to be able to
We just have to go eeny,
witness
meeny,
the
miny, moe.
collisions of atoms and things, but math and with computers it's pseudo-random. So,
Okay.
I know Anne would want to correct me. So I'm going to do a pseudo-random number generator, 1 to 4, and then what we'll do is we'll call out the number, and then I guess Carolyn has the name, so just let us know who it is, and then we'll wait for you to acknowledge that you're here. If you've left, then you're not. You need to be here to win the prize.
It
And
must
then
be
the process-
present to win.
Yeah, you must be present. And then if you win, jot this down. You want to send a note to Karen. She's the one who sends. Oh no, Judith wants to ask a question. So
Okay.
Go ahead, Judith. You can ask your question now. We can take that as our last question. So if you win, send an email to Karen@somanycooks.com and copy me. I've been having some problems on that email, so definitely send it to Karen, but copy me and see if I get it. Okay, so last question from Judith. Go ahead. What's your question, Judith? We'd love to hear your question.
Judith who?
Henry, but don't answer
sorry.
yet. Let's see if she has a question.
Okay.
She says, too late to ask now. Watching was at work.
No,
Hey.
she can ask.
Go ahead, Judith, if you want to ask. So I'm going to bring up random.org, and I'm going to say, give me a random number from 1 to 4, unless you have your question, Judith. Okay, I'm going to... So I'll buy you another 10 seconds. When I do the drawing, I'll say the winner is number 3, and then Carolyn will tell us who it is, and then we'll wait for you to say I'm here, and then you need to remember to send us an email with your mailing address. Don't post your mailing address here, but send it to us. Okay, Judith, I'm going to do the drawing. Oh, here we go. All right, so Judith is number 5.
Asking about potato and
So
cheese.
Judith said, I want to ask about potato and cheese. Do you need to buy organic? So cheese, I'm assuming, because if you're not talking about plant-based cheese, then I have no clue there. That's not something I know anything about. But when I talk about cheese, I'm talking about nutritional yeast, and I'm talking about garlic, and I use some bell pepper to change the color a bit, cashews. And so the question, do you need to buy organic? It kind of depends upon you. strictly speaking, from a nutritional point of view, there's no research that shows organic makes a bit of difference in our nutrition. But clearly, we're poisoning the environment by throwing all these chemicals out there. So as a steward of the world, I try to buy all organic, and I make some exceptions, but I try to buy all organic. So, for example, those of you who know me a little bit know I love citrus. And I don't know if I told you, Cody.
No, you do? Really?
Did I tell you?
Really? No idea.
What? Dylan, really?
So, what do you think I like better?
I'm gonna get you a tangerine outfit like
You
that.
should. You should.
Exactly.
I give to my math students and not my Stanford students, but my local North Carolina students, I give them triple cross tangerines in season. And so, okay, so Judith is talking about plant-based, right?
Of course.
So
she's been here before. She knows.
yes, of course. So anyhow, in this last week, we got some mandarins, and they were not organic, and I bought them, and they're pretty good. They're surprisingly good for this early in the season.
You're not eating the peel. So
right.
I think if you're eating the peel,
but Karen pointed out when you're eating things that aren't organic, the chemicals go through the roots.
Well, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Even watermelon, so she's a bigger stickler than I am.
Yeah, I always just figure. I look at the environmental working group. I look at the environmental working group, and then if I'm not eating the peel, then I'm a little better with it. Well, but I eat peels of things most people don't. Like I eat potato peels and sweet potato peels.
Yeah, sweet potato peels taste good. No, but to answer the question, at least from my point of view, is that if organic isn't important to you, then what we want you to do is eat as many plants as possible. And if that means that you can't eat organic, then so be it. So in my personal life, I try to be a stickler. For example, we went to one of the best weddings we've been to recently, and it was a vegan couple. And
besides my daughters, you mean?
Besides your daughters, right? Yeah. So, and it was, and they had extra food, and they gave us this big bag of carrots. And I told them, do you mind if I return the carrots? Because that I'm pretty careful about, and those carrots are not organic. So some people are. And so Judith, you're saying you can't get organic there. So if I were you, and this is, we try to do things that are evidence-based. And what I would say is eat the potatoes and carrots, even if they're not organic. You're getting so many benefits.
Right.
If it were me, what I would do is I would peel. I don't peel my carrots because they're organic. I scrub them a bit and I eat them. But if they weren't organic, I actually would peel them. So Judith, use our recipes. If you can't get organic, so be it. But I think there's good reasons to be organic for health of the farmers, health of the environment. And I think it's health for us too. I think the evidence hasn't caught up with it, but I can't tell you from an evidence point of view, it makes a whit of difference. It really, so far doesn't. You get the same nutrition from organic and not organic. And I haven't looked at it very carefully the last 5-6 years, but I gave a talk on this topic. And at that point, there was no evidence that organic is better for your health than not. So, but I eat organic. But I also am privileged, right? Because organic tends to be more expensive. But that's what I spend money on. I spend money on food. I don't spend money on too many other things. So it's okay. I throw things in the cart. Doesn't really matter what the price is because I like good food.
Well, there was an article a few years ago in Good Housekeeping of all places that said one of the best things you can do to prevent cancer is to eat organic, to avoid the pesticides. So it's not necessarily nutritionally different.
But the article's missing. Carolyn, the article's missing. Even better than that is start by eating plants. That's even a bigger benefit.
Right, and that's the thing. So, I mean, the way I would look at it is, it's better for you to eat non-organic fruits and vegetables than it is to eat organic meat.
Even things on the dirty dozen, absolutely.
Right.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I can't resist. I was saying if I go out to a restaurant and they have beautiful blackberries, I'll eat them and I won't ask if it's organic. And I'm assuming it probably isn't. But when I go to a better, like a good vegan restaurant, then I actually do ask, are your berries organic? And then I might or might not get them. Right. All right. So let's do the drawing then. So Judith is in the list. So we have what, 5?
Yes, 5.
Okay,
correct.
So let me do the drawing. So 1 to 5. Ready? The first winner is number 2. Who's number 2?
Shirley Ann Mooney.
Shirley Ann Mooney. So let us know that you're here, Shirley Ann. I'm going to write your name down. And Shirley Ann Mooney gets the magazine subscription to, what is it, Veg News, I think?
Yes.
I think so.
So Shirley Ann, are you here? We'll do the second drawing. We'll wait for you. And after the second drawing, if we haven't heard from Shirley Ann, we'll draw that again. But Shirley Ann, please let us know. And if we don't hear from you, we'll draw another one, another winner for the for the veg news. So Shirley Ann Mooney. Yay! Okay, so Shirley Ann, please send an email to Karen@somanycooks.com and copy me, Dilip, D-I-L-I-P, @somanycooks.com, and we'd love to get you your veg news subscription. The second prize, let's do a second drawing, and that is for the Forks Over Knives book. And if it's 2 again, I'll do it again. The winner is 3. Who's number 3?
Linda Coulter Pittman.
Linda Pittman. Welcome, Linda Coulter Pittman. So you got the Forks Over Knives. And tell you what, since this is our last show, last live show, I don't know if we'll do giveaways or even Q&A for the rebroadcasts. Let's do one more Forks Over Knives book. Let's make it 3 prizes. So Linda Pittman, please confirm you're here. And what I'll do is I will draw again. We'll give away 3. We'll give away 2 books. The winner is 3 again, so I'm going to draw again. It's 3 again. It's possible.
Sheesh.
It's 3 again.
It's starting to not sound very random, Della.
No, it's possible. It's 4. Who's number 4?
Ann Shore.
Okay, Ann Shore, my colleague, Ann. I'm glad that you won. So Ann Shore, and Linda Pittman both got Forks Over Knives. And Ann, please confirm you're here, and we'll get you a copy of Forks Over Knives.
Did Linda Pittman confirm she's here?
Yeah, Linda's here. Yay,
Okay,
Ann's here.
good job. All right.
And Ann, if you want to wait, I know Ann and I are meeting on Zoom soon. If you want to wait till we meet, then I can just get it from you then. You don't have to email, but you can if you want. So let's start wrapping up. We had a bunch of new people. I hope all of you guys become regulars. We've been doing this for 5.5 years. We love it. All our shows are they're not vegan. They are vegan, but they're whole food, plant-based with limited fat. And we have, if you come to somanycooks.com, we have so many recipes. Next time you're going to a party or something, what do I make? Well, we have hundreds of recipes. We have a search engine now. It went down for a while, and it's not quite back up, but 3 is a lucky number, right?
Yeah.
So,
No kidding.
so use that. And again, you won't see us live this year. We're going to rebroadcast our shows, and hopefully one of us will take care and look at your questions, and we may do some Q&A after. We probably won't give any prizes away. Maybe we will. We'll see. But then January will be our next live show. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. And Carolyn or Cody, your Let's Beat Breast Cancer things are still coming up. Did you want to say anything about that or about anything else before we go?
Mine's Saturday.
Mine's on the 28th.
Is that a Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, we do
Saturday.
It's at the campus, so we try and catch all the students.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's at the Bell Road YMCA. So for anybody who lives nearby, Linda Coulter Pittman. For anybody who lives nearby, we're doing it Saturday morning at Bell Road YMCA, and it's going to be a whole morning of I think 8:30 to noon events, yoga, a talk by a breast cancer survivor who is also a pharmacist, a talk by a health and wellness coach about a topic, I'm not really sure what, Zumba, they're going to be doing some Zumba, just fun, and you don't have to know how to do Zumba. You can come and just, and then I'm hopefully I have a drum circle coming. We're working on it. So with extra instruments so people can sit and play with the drum circle for a little bit while I'm cooking. So that'll be fun. So yeah, should be a fun time.
Cody, did you want to say anything about yours?
Oh, I did, but so yeah, mine's Tuesday, 12 to 1 at Nebraska Methodist campus. So you're welcome to swing over there and see us, and it should be a good time. I got 2 drum lines coming. I got Millard West, and I have UNO's The Herd. It's a fun band, and it's like a pep rally band. So they go back and forth between the high school kids and the college kids, and they work together. It's such a blast. So I'm excited. And we have a little booth set up for education on breast health for our students and faculty and staff and the public that come over and join us. So you're welcome to come.
Linda wants to come.
Cool.
My granddaughter is in a play in Birmingham.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, James points out we have lots of new people. That's excellent. We didn't see anything from you, James. So I'm glad. I was wondering if you were lurking there a bit. We're glad to see you. I'm having a slight technical issue. So,
You are?
okay. No, I'm not anymore. Okay, I solved it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We loved having you. We loved all the new folks. And James, I'm sorry you missed much of the show because you always have great questions. So please watch the recording, and you know how to reach us if you need to. We will look forward to seeing you at our pre-recorded shows and then live in January. It'll be. Where did the year go? It went so fast.
No, this is crazy.
Yeah. It seems like my daughter is in high school, and I just remember when she was born. I remember before she was born. It's like,
it goes by so fast. Kids make it go by even faster. So yeah.
I was telling Anu, Carolyn, that when we had known each other when we first met each other at the PCRM conference. Molly was I think a 5th or 6th grader. And Anu was like, like a year old or 2 years old. You remember when I brought her when she was so little when you first met me? Yeah.
She was tiny and adorable. Yeah. It was precious. And now I have a grandbaby. Oh my God.
I know you did. That's great.
I know.
That's great.
He's so cute. Oh my God. Just don't little cheeks.
She's so cute. Yeah, we saw her in the last show. You put her on camera briefly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she's gotten a lot bigger. She's 8.5 months old.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, what day is it? Yeah, no, but she's still 8.5 months or ish. No, she's not 9 months yet. So she's a big girl. Oh my goodness.
Well, thanks everybody for watching our show. Try our recipes. We posted the link, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Keep up the cooking and send any questions or ideas for future shows.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
So many cooks in the kitchen, so many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.